Hey everybody, Dan Holstein here, helping your business take flight. Today we're going to be talking about the scary subject of business planning. So before you run away, I'm not talking about that 70-page document that's collecting dust on the shelf. I'm talking about an actual plan of action. You know, a lot of business owners I encounter, they talk about they want to achieve certain things, the goals in their business, and they don't end up achieving them because they haven't got an effective plan of action that they can use to execute to achieve what they want to achieve. So today I'm going to share with you 3 critical components of an action plan you can actually use to achieve your goals. So stick around. Okay, so today we're talking about goal achievement, specifically 3 critical components to having a plan that's going to help you achieve your goal. So I'm going to take you through them just at high level, and then we'll dig into each one. So the first one is actually having really clear, concise, specific goals or a goal. And making sure that you know exactly what you're driving towards. Sometimes our goals are a little bit too vague, which means that we can get off in the weeds, we're not going to achieve it. The second is knowing exactly which strategies are going to help you achieve your goal. So if your goal is the what, the strategies are going to be the how. The third component is measurable action steps. So we need to take our strategy and break it down into discrete steps, allocate resources, and a way to measure that we're on track and making progress. So let's get back up to goals. So often I talk to business owners, and when they haven't achieved something, we dig into why they haven't achieved a goal, and it's been a little bit too vague. It hasn't been really clear and concise. So the number one thing we need to do to be able to achieve our goal in the first place is clearly identify it. What exactly are we setting out to do? Is it you're going to earn more money in your business? If that's the case, how much? Is it revenue, gross profit, net profit? Is it a dollar amount? Is it a percent increase over last year, last quarter, last month? What exactly is it? If it's getting time back from the business, does that mean that you're going to be working just a little bit less? Does that mean you're going to be working 42 hours a week and not the 80 that you might be working now? What exactly is it that you're going to be accomplishing? So we know when you've nailed it, okay? So we need to get really specific about our goal. The next thing is we want to make sure that the goal is meaningful to us, that it means something to when we achieve it. So if your goal is money bound, why is that money important? Is it just to impress your accountant, or is it to make sure that you've got resources you can use for philanthropic endeavors? Or does that mean that you can buy that new piece of capital equipment so you can increase your production? Does it mean that you're going to be able to take a little bit more out of the business to pay off some debts or to be able to take a trip? Whatever the reasons are, we need to get really clear on those and make sure that we don't forget why we're doing what we're doing. Because let's face it, achieving something you've never achieved before means that you're going to have to change. And this is the part that gets people tripped up, is that we're not necessarily willing to make the change. We have a nice goal, it's specific, but if it doesn't mean enough to us, we may not do the things that we need to do. Let's face it, we haven't achieved the goal yet, which is why we're setting out to achieve it. So we haven't become the person we need to become that would do the things we need to do to achieve the goal. So we've got to realize to achieve something we've never achieved before, we have to change just a little bit. That could be a little bit uncomfortable at times. So we need something to pull us through. And that's that why, that real important reason to achieve the goal. The next thing is we want to make sure that it passes the SMART test. And you may be familiar with a SMART goal, which is specific, measurable, action-oriented, realistic, with a time frame. So we've already covered specific. Now let's make it measurable. How do we know when we achieve it? If it's financial, that's easy enough. If it's time-based, that's easy enough. We can measure how much time we're putting into the business. What if it's something a little bit more nebulous? Whatever your goal is, you've got to find a way to measure that you've achieved it, and you can measure progress towards it. Otherwise, you can't tell how you're doing. And we humans, we like progress. We don't need big home runs all the time. If we can feel we're making a little bit of progress every day, and you can measure that, that's going to help you stay the course and continue moving. So the next thing is actionable. So it's got to be action-oriented, and that means the goal isn't just going to happen anyways. You've got to do something a little bit different. Remember we talked about change a minute ago? You got to be ready and willing to get out of your comfort zone a little bit to achieve what you want to achieve and take new and different actions in order to achieve your goal. The next thing is realistic. And how do we define realistic? Well, it's realistic to you, not to me or anybody else. Your goal needs to be realistic for who you are, where you're at in your life and business, and what your own unique situation is. Which brings up the other comment around, don't compare your goal to somebody else's. Doesn't matter. You're just going to set yourself up for disappointment. So realistic means you feel a little bit nervous about achieving your goal, but you're pretty sure that you can. And you know you're going to have to push and try and maybe scuffle a little bit to get there, but you're pretty sure you can do it. That's a good realistic goal. And the next thing is time bound. Give yourself a time frame. Humans, we like to procrastinate, especially around maybe doing uncomfortable, out of our comfort zone things. Unless it's just me. I think it's most people. So give yourself a time frame so you can't procrastinate. You've got this end game coming up, okay? So that's our SMART goal. So now that we've got a SMART goal, our next thing is, well, how are we going to go about achieving it? So we might need to learn something. So if you've never achieved a goal before, can you talk to someone who has achieved what you want to achieve? What can you learn from them? What can you study? Is there workshops, seminars, videos, podcasts? What education can you get yourself around and learn more about from the people who have achieved something like you're setting out to achieve? Now we're arming ourselves with the education so that we can have an effective plan. So we need strategies. The next thing here is strategies. What are we going to do? What's the how we're going to go about achieving our goal? So this is where folks end up going a little bit too wide and having too many strategies. What we often forget is that within a single strategy, there's going to be many action steps, many tasks. So it's better to have just one or two strategies that when executed on well, you're going to achieve your goal. So the strategy is the overall big picture how. So we want to make sure that you've got a way to measure your strategies as well. You can measure your success strategies. You can see progress in the actions that you're taking. Which brings us to tasks. So the tasks are all the millions of little things that we need to do to achieve or to implement our strategy that we often think are just going to take a minute or two, but often take a lot longer. So we want to be really honest with ourselves, and when we're making our list of all the tasks that we need to roll up into a strategy being completed, are we the best person to do it? Or should we delegate it or farm it out or contract it out? How much time is it going to take? Is there going to be a financial component? Do we need to set aside budget in order to get those actions taken accomplished? Pardon me. The next thing is allocating time every week to take some action on your plan. So often what I see for plans is that everyone front loads their plan. They're going to do tons in the first 2 weeks. It's not really realistic. What we find is that we fall behind, then we get a little discouraged, and maybe we're not going to take action like we could be for the rest of the planned time frame. So be honest with yourself. You're already busy, probably. Most business owners I know are very busy. So if you're going to be taking new actions, when are you going to do them? You've already got a lot on the go. Maybe you have to say no to something in order to say yes to the actions you need to take to be able to achieve your goals. So you want to have one or two things, one or two actions rather, that you're focusing on each week, and you'd be surprised how fast the change happens, right? But we need to get started today. Take an action or two every week towards your goal. Tick it off your list and measure that progress. So that's where we need to be, guys. First off, a really effective goal that means something to you. The second component is clear strategies that when executed on are going to help you achieve that goal. And the third is really clear, measurable tasks and time allocated for those tasks in your schedule so you can take the action you need to take every day, each week, in order to achieve your goal. So that's it for this time. If you have any questions, happy to help out, even review your plan, do some sounding board kind of stuff, bounce it off. And I wish you happy planning and more importantly, happy application, execution, and goal achievement. See you next time.